Man, this ain't what I signed up for.
I didn't experience anything once I left home that I hadn't signed up for. If anything, it saved my life. Me being homeless for that small period of time allowed me to see all of the people that were in that situation and to see that these were lawyers and doctors and teachers, and that these people were white and black and Asian and Indian. And the only thing that all of these homeless people had in common was, they made a bad decision and aligned themselves with drugs. And I interviewed them all. What drug? What? And guess what, Shannon? Nobody had a great story. Nobody had a great story of what meth had done for them, what crack had done for them, what cocaine had done for them, what heroin had done for them, what speed had done for them. Nobody had them stories. Everybody's story was, I had my life together. And then I decided to do this dumb thing. And I lost my wife, I lost my house, I lost my cars, I lost my reputation, and I'm now out here sucking penis in the woods. What? Talk about scared straight. You ain't got to worry about me. If it ain't weed or nicotine, you won't see me touching it. I don't want no parts. I done seen what these things can do to people. Anything that take over your free will is the devil itself.
Have you ever thought about what your life would have been had you stayed in Dayton, Ohio?
No. That's like asking somebody that's in the NBA for 14 years, like, what would have happened if you didn't come to the NBA? Well, I shudder to think. I thought it was what I was made for. I thought it was what I was built for. Anybody that knows me will tell you that when they first met Katt Williams, when I was Cat in the Hat, and they tell these stories about how he changed his name. Look, the truth of the matter is Disney sued me. Yeah, I was Cat in the Hat. They sent me a cease and desist letter, and I'm not even making $25,000 a year. And the mega company Disney has sent me a cease and desist telling me I can't use any variations of that name. Fine, I'm Katt Williams. That's all that happened. I have been this same product the entire time. They will tell you when they first saw me doing stand-up, I was just like this. This is what I bring. This is my style.
When did you know were you always funny? Did you always want to be a comedian? Did you stumble on a comedianship?
No, I loved what they did. And so I studied them, all of them. I studied all of the white comedians because I wanted to know, why is Monty Python funny? Why is Don not so talented? I wanted to know, what is George Carlin's thing? Like, so I studied all of the comedy masters regardless of the field because I loved to laugh. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that these people were making a great living at doing this. I thought this is just what they did. They tell jokes. They're funny people. But I loved the craft. And that's why when I got into the craft, I thought it was my obligation to make sure that I kept writing new material so much that it forced these comedians to stop doing the set they've been doing for 10 years and keep writing some new stuff. And I knew that if I could get that to take on, that most of these bums would have to just quit comedy because they can't keep up. They're not going to keep writing an hour worth of material.
Right.
I've written an hour worth of material 19 times. They're not going to do it. Why? Because they're not creative writers. They want to get somebody else and have them write it and put it together.
So if I'm listening to you correct me if I'm wrong. I think the best thing that ever happened was the internet, because now they have to. Because normally, like you said, you could do a set and you do that set in Kansas City. People ain't heard it in San Francisco. People ain't heard it in Miami. They ain't heard it in Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta, so forth and so on. Now you do a set, it's on the internet. Somebody heard it. So you can't do a set and make it last 3 months, 4 months.
Well, it doesn't allow the regular comic the ability to grow is the real problem. Like, the part of comedy is me taking these jokes in January And by March, I've begun to craft this joke.
Okay.
It's not as simple as it was. When I wrote it, it was just da-da-da-da-da. But now it has the complexities of the fact that I'm having to deliver this to an East Coast audience, a down South audience, a Midwest audience, a Utah audience, a Colorado audience. And so it begins to take on a different complexion because you're having to deliver it to different people.
Okay.
And so this is what sharpens your joke. You then take those sharpened jokes and make a special. Not you just randomly take some. Mm-hmm. So it's a process. You don't allow them to process if the first time the guy did the joke, now that's his joke and the joke is everywhere. That just sets it up for people to steal.
So how many times must you tell a joke before you master it?
How many times have you had to sleep with a woman before you're done with her? That's not fair. If it's great, never. if it ceases to have usefulness, so it has been spoken. Right.
I read that you was raised in Florida. You had some help, some ladies of the night.
No.
That's not true.
No, that whole story doesn't take place in Florida. That story takes place in Oklahoma City.
Okay.
So after I'm in Florida, I then join, I try to join the Marine Corps and they won't accept me because I'm too young and I've lied and told them I'm 16 and my family's moving down and I don't have my ID, but it's coming. And so they let me go to the boot camp. That's not going to work now. Okay. So I've learned that lesson.
Right.
So then I get this job selling stuff door to door. Across the country. And so I've been to all 50 states. Again, I'm 14 years old. So I did that. While I'm doing that, one of the places I'm at, I'm in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And I've decided I'm going to stay here because of meeting these ladies that you're talking about mm-hmm. and that situation. I don't know at the time why that's important in my life or why it's something I should be doing or any of that. But now later on, it certainly helps me in formulating Money Mike for Friday After Next.
Right.
And a pimp named Slickback for the Boondocks.
Oklahoma, so San Francisco, Oklahoma, Sacramento. From Florida, you moved to the West Coast. So you're traveling. When did you set up shop on the West Coast? How old were you then?
So I guess I'm 18 or younger, and once I have a child, I realize that I can't. It's a lot of things that I could use to make money that now is a no-go. So anything with street aspirations that I might have thought about pursuing or been good at, I now am a single parent and I gotta redo this thing. So I need comedy to really work out for me. Right. And me and God go into extreme conversation where I'm explaining to him that I'm a crash out dummy if he don't send me a lifeline. Like I need something I can hold on to. Before I had left Florida, I did stand up one time because we was trying to get in the club. I didn't have ID. So I said I was a comedian. They ended up having me do 5 minutes. But I kept that in my head that I had done that. When we get to Oklahoma, they're having a competition for stand-up. And if you win, you get to go out on the road with Jeff Foxworthy and Dan Whitney, who is Larry the Cable Guy, and Richard Jenny, and these great comics. You get to open for them. And once I did that, I realized, okay, as a comedian, I'm like way behind schedule. I done started this too late. All the funny guys are already funny and known names. Like, how am I going to progress? So I realized that I do better with a white audience than I do with a black audience. And I'm not sure why that's occurring, okay. But the white audience likes me more. That's interesting. So when I moved to Sacramento, it's because Sacramento has a white and a black audience almost 50-50. That's okay. Almost the makeup of Sacramento. So I live in Sacramento for 2 years until I get to the point where I am equally as funny if the room is black as I am am if the room is white.
Okay.
That's not enough. Now I need to be one of the good ones when it comes to black comics. So now I have to move to Oakland, and that's what lands me in Oakland for 3 years. Once I have dominated male black comedy in Oakland,